Can you help me make it through?
Doc on JOX with us. Doc, do you have any more daughters who want to be an intern?
I am done.
You got everybody off the payroll, right?
Yeah, everybody.
Well,
we're moving people off the payroll
I hear
as
you.
we speak. So, no, but it's okay. I'm glad she could be there.
Doc on JOX with us every Wednesday throughout the year until 12:30 with us. We'll take your phone calls at 741-9450, 1-800-239-9569. Anything medically going on in your life. We do this as a public service to you folks out there. A chance to speak with a medical professional about anything going on in your life, and we'll do that on the phones momentarily. Also on Twitter as well. Again, the number is 741-9450, 1-800-239-9569. The doc wants to talk about 7 ways to beat holiday stress, and the stress really kicks up. We're only a couple of weeks away from Christmas.
We're 2.5 weeks away, guys.
Yep.
It's the
Man,
11th.
that's crazy.
Yeah, can you believe that?
Yeah.
So it gets here very quickly. So when you're 2 weeks away from Christmas, you start getting a little stress.
Yeah, listen, seeing tons of it in the office right now. So these are just 7 things I've sort of picked up on that you personally can do. And no, it's not talking about changing religions or moving out of the United States or doing anything like that. Now, these are things you can do physically to help reduce your stress loads. Please don't go by your local firearms store and buy a gun and shoot somebody, but these are things you can do. Number 1, as crazy as it sounds, I tell people to breathe deeply. But deep breathing is a huge reliever of stress. You stand up straight, breathe from your abdomen. It's a lot like yoga. It'll tend to slow your heart rate, drop your blood pressure, cause you to release endorphins when you get in a stressed out situation. And you have to focus on the breathing. You can't it kind of helps you, as Coach Saban says, at least the way he's Alabama's coach, to block the mental clutter. Get rid of the mental clutter and get yourself focused. All right, second thing goes along with that, meditation. Meditation is not quite as hard. A lot of us call meditation prayer. But just focusing yourself during the day in a quiet period for a little while, either focusing on breathing, focus on a single word, focus on talking to our master. Those kind of things, when you can do that and focus and block all these other things out that were out there that are, again, being mental clutter, helps you to relax, drops your heart rate, drops your blood pressure. Big part of Buddhism, but, again, like I say for Christianity, prayer is what we call meditation.
Yeah, I was going to say that because I think for a lot of Christians, when you hear the word meditation, you think of some Far East religion. But,
No.
it's really beyond that.
Listen, you go back to the time of the monks, of the Crusades and stuff. That was always at the heart of this thing. Exercise. Geez, I'd probably put that number 1. Everybody like this morning. I go out and run at 4:45. It looks like something out of Rocky or out of Dr. Zhivago because you can see every breath. But getting out and running for, exercising or just a brisk walk, either before work or after work. And I had somebody tell me today, it's too cold to go out. Okay. If it's too cold to go out, go to one of your YMCAs, go to the Hoover Rec. I think Pelham has got a place down there too where you can go. Go walk. Go run. Go lift some weights. I think boxing's probably a pretty good thing, or that MMA training that the Spartan Fitness Health guys are pushing is a good thing to kind of work a little of that out. But it helps to really, what it does physically to you is it boosts the chemical called endorphins in your brain that helps you deal with stress better.
So the 3 things you've given us so far is you give us 7 ways to handle holiday stress. The first 3 have the first 2 seem to be lowering your heart rate and relaxing, and then that one seems like it's raising your heart rate to almost burn off the stress a little bit.
Yeah, it's a real balancing act. I find the deep breathing and the meditation things during the early part of the day are really good. And also, too, if you're going to exercise, probably mornings are your best time to exercise because all your stress hormones, your cortisols, your adrenaline levels, and all that are at their highest, and it helps to prepare the body for the stress of the coming day.
See, I think you're wired, or I'm wired a lot like you.
We are.
And I forget to breathe sometimes before I react. I snap before I deep breathe. Deep breathing is good.
Bear those fangs, baby.
Yeah.
I know. I'm right there with you, man. That Dr. Jekyll thing, she don't have the professional title, just be Jekyll. But
yeah.
Jimmy Jekyll.
I didn't earn that, yes.
Or as he called us, or Lance was calling us moody last week, yes. And also, too, make no mistake about it, the lack of sunlight.
It
Just
will
the
stress
shortest
you
of
out,
the days is stress you out. even though people think it's crazy, and I'm going to throw this in as item number 8, get some sun. If you can't get outside and get it, using a tanning bed, if used appropriately, is not a bad thing to do. Now, I'll get shot down by medical professionals across the board for saying it, but I'm telling you that UV light does things. It increases your vitamin D level. It helps to do a lot of things for us hormonally. Of course, we got a beautiful day like today. It's cold, but I tell you, being out in the sun, it matters. And the days are going to start getting longer 10 days from now, which is my favorite day of the year because I hate the short daylight hours. I'm a child of the sun. Most of us are. And I tell you what, when the days start getting longer, people will start feeling better. Practice something called guided imagery. And it's a lot like deep breathing. But instead of just the breathing aspect, you actually imagine a scene. Close your eyes. For me, it's the beach. I can imagine I'm sitting there at the edge of the beach. Y'all talk about Michelob Light. Yes, in my day, it was the drink of choice. But sitting there in your chair in the sand with your Michelob Light in hand, and imagine that surf just kind of coming up and rinsing over your feet and moving up the legs.
Absolutely.
And you just feel the knots start coming out, and it just makes you feel better.
I'm on the 12th at Augusta National right now.
It works. You
Yeah.
make the turn. You're there. You buy. That's by the Hell Irwin Bridge, isn't it? Or it's close
The
to
Ben Hogan Bridge.
Ben Hogan Bridge. Yeah. So that's one of those
this
things.
is
and
peaceful.
just kind of let it relax. Kind of wash over you.
I'm playing the harp at the Victoria's Secret runway show last night.
Yeah.
Jimmy Creepy.
I could think of worse things.
I'm in a control
I'm
room.
working in the dressing room. Thank you. All right. Next thing we want to talk about. Eating well. We talk about foods all the time, but foods have chemicals or trigger chemicals in us that actually do really good things for us. The biggest thing there is when you crave certain types of food, it's not like your brain, you just say, oh, I want some of that, but your brain's actually looking for chemicals it has identified in those food sources that it's needing. But things that are real good right now, vitamin C, cannot emphasize vitamin C enough. It really is great at decreasing stress. You get the cutie oranges, the oranges and stuff. I mean, it's a big deal, and it really works. Omega-3s, whether you're taking omega-3 vitamins or eating more fish or anything right now, is really good for you. Dark chocolate, if you want a little something sweet, ladies love it. Guys, pay attention. Dark chocolates set off all kinds of brain chemistries. It's good for your romance. It helps decrease stress. It helps to elevate mood. So you got date night coming up in the middle of the kids fixing to be out of school for 2 weeks. Get some dark chocolates. Go down to see our friends at the Westin downtown and have a good time. All right.
One of our sales ladies back there, I walked back there, and she has a
I saw it.
box of chocolate. Looked like it came out of, like Moses walked down from the mountaintop with 2 of those.
We put it in the ark and everybody's happy.
Is this
It's
dark
a
chocolate?
huge tablet of chocolate.
Well, let me tell you what, wives and mothers and all in the next week and a half are going to be wanting it. So, guys, it's a way to score some major league brownie points here, okay? Talking positive to yourself. I know as crazy as it is, but we go get so beaten up by running the list, being down ourselves that we didn't maybe get things accomplished that we need to do. We didn't get the G.I. Joe with the Kung Fu grip or whatever, as they talked about in trading places. You got to talk to yourself positive. You got to self-motivate. And I know that's all crazy, but it actually works. Because if you dwell on the negative stuff and you're looking backwards and I wish I should have done this and should have done that, it's going to depress you. And we can find enough depression as it is right now anyway. Sleeping well, and I mean excellent quality sleep, is so important right now. And that's something, we've talked about last week. We just simply don't get enough of right now. You're going wide open. We're having a Cumulus Christmas party. We're having other Christmas parties. You're shopping. You're doing stuff to get ready for the kids' end of the school year stuff and the parties and cooking the cupcakes. Or, I don't know why these dogs and cats always seem to get sick this time of year, but you're taking care of your animals. You got kids coming home from college. Your routine is totally, and I tell you, if you're an empty nester, this is a big deal. Your routine's totally messed up with all that, and it really throws off your sleep. So exercise is going to help a lot to help keep your sleep cycles. Try to stay on that pattern of your sleep hygiene as well as you can. Try to avoid the naps. If you're going to do them early in the day so you can get to sleep at night. If you need a mild sleep aid, if it's not anything across the counter like this is equal stuff, talk to your doctor. But it makes a huge difference. Next 2 or 3 weeks, going to be a major stress time for everybody. I don't mean to be a Debbie Downer on the holidays, but it just is what it is. And as an adult, a lot of times that stuff gets swept under the rug. You don't like it. These are things you can do. And again, I'm going to put down number 8 on this. get some sun. When we have these days that the sun's out, if it's nothing else but just sitting outside or sitting at the window and letting the sun hit you in the face, y'all, it helps. It really, really works, and it does a great job. If you do those things, when we get through everything, hopefully we get through the holidays and we don't have to think about it for another 365 days, and you're healthy and we'll stress about other items.
If you'd like to make the doc your primary care physician, it's real easy to do.
Yeah, make that call today, 822-0233. That is 822-0233.
We'll get your phone calls coming up in a second. Brett McMurphy also reporting what we told you earlier, that Nick Saban's yet to sign his contract extension with Alabama. It's been on his desk since Friday. It's something Paul reported, the Feinbaum radio show, which follows us in the Birmingham market. But Brett now reiterated that on ESPN Sports Center. Doc on JOX with us. Phone calls here at 741-9450, 1-800-239-9569. Let's get some of those out right here before we take our first break with Dr. Mark Ricketts. Sam in Birmingham. Sam, you're on with the Doc on JOX. How you doing, man?
Thank you for taking my call.
Sure.
Gentlemen. Doc, several years ago I had a major illness and was prescribed prescription pain medication. And as a result, I became dependent on it and have been that way for a number of years now. And I heard about a medication called Suboxone that some people are having good results with. But then I also hear the naysayers. So I wanted to get your input. I understand the mental aspect. I'm going to need support and therapy to go along with it, but just the physical dependency. What are your thoughts on Suboxone?
Well, listen, I'll make this real easy for you. If you are with a pain medicine specialist who specializes in dealing with this sort of thing, Suboxone is an excellent way to go. It helps take care of the physical dependencies that one has with the medication. It helps to reset your brain. And let me tell you, then we can taper you off the Suboxone. Then once we have had a long disease-free period or a non-intake period with any kind of the narcotics, and you can taper off the Suboxone better. Now, I have a problem, and the naysayers are the docs that just put folks on Suboxone and leave them on there, which stinks. It's not a good thing. But I tell you what, in the right hands, it can be done well. It can help you to remove that dependency from your life, to free you. And I tell you what, being truth is like it said in the Bible, the truth's going to set you free.
It's taking me alive, Doc. It really is.
Yeah, it's something that will help you free yourself and handle it correctly. I would start off by talking to my primary care doc, get a referral to an excellent pain medicine specialist that specializes in this along with therapy and everything else, and wish you the best of a 2014 and a drug-free 2014 before we click into 15 next year.
I'll call your office and get
Please
that
do. Hey, Lance, what's that number?
That would be 822-0233. 822-0233. Good luck with this, Sam.
Yeah, thanks, Sam. Took a lot of bravery to call in, so we appreciate you doing that, man.
More phone calls with you at 741-9450, 1-800-239-9569. And the doc will also, before the calls, Doc wants to get to the Scholar Athlete of the Week. Our friends at AL.com and the Birmingham News recognize those all over the state, and Doc always points out one or two here on the air.
Absolutely. This week is Andrew Denard from Altamont. He has a 4.05 GPA and scored 35 on the ACT. No small feat at that school, let me tell you, having 3 kids graduate from there. He's a starting catcher for the Knights baseball team. He wants to major in aerospace engineering at Auburn and then get his master's degree also in aerospace engineering down at Auburn. Wants to go to work for NASA or Boeing. We're trying to get the big Boeing plant up in Huntsville right now, thank you. He wants to play intramural sports. Math by far is his favorite subject, and that's saying a lot. He loves you too, and that is our man, Mr. Andrew Denard from Altamont School.
All right, let's do Fred and work our way around now. Fred, how you doing? Welcome to the show.
Good. Hey, fellas, how's it going?
Doing great.
Hey, talking about the last caller having guts. Well, I should get a gold star for this call, too. So, noticed about 8 months ago, I had a little discoloration in my swimmers. You know what I mean?
I understand.
Fooling around with Mama for about 5 minutes. Anyway, so I kind of paid attention to it, discolored, rusty color.
Yeah.
So I kind of just, said, well, I'm going to worry about it. Well, kind of went away, then it came back, and then now it's really come back periodically, and it was pretty dark a week ago.
Could that be blood, doc?
Well, actually, it's a lot of that's what it is. You have a numerous amount of veins and stuff that are in that part of the body that will, keeping the earmuffs on right now, that do regulate temperature, because you got to keep the body temperature there a little cooler than the rest of the body, but it's not unusual for that kind of discoloration, a lot like somebody having varicose veins in the legs. So as you get older, that's an issue some of us old men just have sometimes.
Yeah, Fred, that's a definite go to the doctor and get that checked out. Sam is next with us. Hey, Sam, how you doing? Welcome in.
Afternoon, gentlemen. How y'all doing?
Doing great.
Well, first of all, Doc, I'm a vet from OEF-10. I was blown up by an IED twice.
Okay.
I have a chronic ankle neck pain.
Gotcha.
And in March, I blew out my knee. I had ACL and PCL reconstruction.
Okay.
Here recently, I had strained my knee again. I hyperextended it. I fell off a ladder and went to the VA. And I've been prescribed Percocet 5 milligrams with 325 of amphetamine.
Yes.
And so I've been taking these Percocets, and they changed me to hydrocodone 5 and 325.
Okay.
So for the last few months, I've been on these hydrocodones, and I go in for a follow-up and to refill my prescription, and they take me off of my medications and tell me to take Advil or Motrin or ibuprofen. And they said the reason they gave me the hydrocodone is just for breakthrough pain.
Sure.
So I'm able to manage my pain with the hydrocodone 5 milligrams and everything. And then the doctor had told me that if it continues, that he would want to put me on methadone or medicine. And I think that's kind of ridiculous to take someone off of a medicine that they're able to manage their pain with, and then try to go to something stronger that's more addictive and causes long-term damage.
Well, listen.
What would you think the doctor's reasoning for that would be?
Lack of thinking. I'm just going to tell you. Number one, and I think it's a great topic, and I'm glad you called, because we got a lot of guys here in the area that have been injured, and girls too, with IEDs. Or these improvised explosive devices for the civilians out there, and have had nerve damage and came back with sustained injuries, which did sort up the knee problems and everything else. These orthopedic injuries we're seeing in our vets now several years out from active duty, and even not even that far out for some of them, is a very, very common thing. Number one, they should have taken a more comprehensive approach on how they treated you to begin with. You know, they put you on a very low-dose medication, but they didn't do anything consistently. They didn't do anything in support of it in between times. You know, going from a Lortab 5 basically, or a Percocet 5, and putting you on methadone is crazy. You know, what needs to happen in this particular thing is you got to do a combination of things. Number one, we need to deal with the orthopedic injury you have and not deal with just throwing you on some kind of medication. Number two, using a pain medication, particularly one that's a combination of ibuprofen and hydrocodone, would probably be a better choice in the short term and the long term. And then come up with a physical therapy program and have you evaluated from an orthopedic standpoint, see what needs to be done there. The problem we have with most docs in the VA system is real simple, and I love the VA, and I'm a member of the VA, is they have not been in combat, and they've not dealt with combat injuries nearly enough, and they're not seeing this stuff out in the field like we are, particularly for our reservists and guard members who are off active duty and back in their civilian lives. It is a big deal. It's like dealing with the concussive injuries from these explosive devices and stuff too. It gets missed a lot. But no, you're dead on target. I would probably go seek my care maybe outside the VA for right now to come up with a more comprehensive plan to treat you, and then we'll go from there. And then we can always you can always send a letter, and I have the guys and the docs in the VA system to get us ready and to help you out. So,
yes,
so you're dead on there. And listen, I won't tell you thanks for your service. Just saying thanks for calling, my fellow service member and fellow American. You hang in there, and we will come up with a plan that'll work for you. You guys will never be forgotten.
Thank you, Sam.
Ooh, sorry.
True is in T-Town. Last one for the Doc on JOX today. Hey, True, how are you?
I'm great. Hey, Doc, how are you?
Man, doing great. How you doing today?
Good. I got a question for you. I've got a parenting/teaching opportunity, and I wanted a consult with you real quick.
Sure.
It's something that our parents didn't have to deal with when they were raising us. It's about e-cigarettes.
Yes.
Some teenagers I know these days are going straight, if they want to try something, they're trying e-cigarettes and not not getting the Marlboro Lights and the Winstons. They're
yeah.
trying those out, almost like they don't want to commit to the lit ones, but they're trying the e-cigarettes. And I'm under the impression that those are also bad for you, and that they still have nicotine in them, and they're mainly for smoking cessation. But what can I tell a young child, like a middle school age or a young high school age kid, about the dangers of e-cigarettes?
Well, number one, it is not cool. And that's a thing. Number two, it is totally illegal to sell a child under the age of 19 an e-cigarette as well as it would be a tobacco product.
But they are marketing with flavors
they are.
that are bubble gum and cotton candy and stuff that's aimed right at the kids.
But I think also true.
And so was Joe Camel.
Yeah, I think also true. I've read an article online somewhere that,
So was vodka, by the way.
Yeah, that they are using these to smoke illegal drugs as well. That there's some way they're manipulating that.
There's a way to do
like
it.
a gateway drug type thing,
Right.
and also you being used against the way that they're designed.
Yeah, absolutely, 100%.
Yeah.
Yeah, wrong's wrong and right's right. I mean, I guess let's stay with the flavor of it being a sports station and tell your young person, if they really want to be cool, be a Shaun White. Be one of these cool people that do the X game things. These folks do not do that kind of thing. They may be drinking a Red Bull or a Monster ever so often, but they're not out here destroying their lungs and destroying their performance activities, Drew. It has always been a huge problem in our more rural communities, and I'll tell you, living in Tuscaloosa, back in the day with me, it was Skull Bandits with these guys, and I'd see my son slipping around doing that, or my day it was rabbit tobacco. You just roll some rabbit tobacco and smoke it, but none of that stuff's good. And once my dad beat me once about that, I never worried about it again. I just let it go.
But it will lead to other stuff.
It will. Right, this is one of those things. And that's a big slippery slope. I love e-cigarettes to help people get off cigarettes, but I hate the idea of doing that, with young people. So that would be my advice, and I hope it works.
Thank you, Drew.
All right, 31 after. Doc, a little humor before you go. What does Doc recommend to relieve the stress of this Saban conversation? He goes, his list of 4 is medication, drugs, alcohol, or all of these.
I say send a moving van to Tuscaloosa and wish him the best.
Wow, Doc.
Doc taking the hard stance there. If you'd like to make the doctor primary care physician.
Moody, 822-0233. That is 822-0233.
All right, and 24 hours a day online.
And I do love the people in Moody. Thank you very much. You can follow us at markrickettsmd.com. You can follow us at Facebook and Twitter. Remember, we are the University of Alabama. It doesn't matter who's coaching there. We'd love to keep them there and keep happy. But everybody with Alabama, same with Auburn. Just be cool. We're us.
All right, that's the Doc on JOX for the week. He's back with us next Wednesday.